So cool tone shadows, honey, they are having its moment right now and I am so here for it. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So as I mentioned, cool tones, it is the season. They are having their moments all year long. It really started like at the end of 2023, but I am so here for it. I love me a good cool tone, okay? And let me tell you why. I love me a good cool tone because it kind of brings me back to when I first started loving makeup. Like I started loving makeup back in the 90s, and back then it was gray, black, and taupes, okay? And a little champagne. It was definitely cool tones, and you had a pop of blue when you were doing something extra, okay? And literally probably around 2016, 2017, 2018, definitely the warm tones took over. It doesn't mean I don't love the warm tones, but I love me some cool tones, okay? And I am just like reinvigorated when I look at cool tone palettes. I'm excited about them. But like I said, I still love my warm tones, but I'm so carried away. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're old but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy and I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. But please just call me Ash or Ashley. Eyeshadow is one of my most favorite things to talk about here on my channel, okay? So like I said, I have been loving my cool tones, okay? And you guys know it. And everybody's been telling me like the cool tones look great on me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. I also have videos on my channel if you are a warm tone girly like myself. Honey, y'all see this complexion, warm, super warm, a lot of reds, a lot of golden undertones, but you can still pull off the cool tones. So if you're concerned, I do have some videos on like how to make that work for you, and I'll put it down below. So right here, I got some favorites for you. I got some favorites and old favorites and new favorites. So I picked out about 10 palettes out of my collection that I think are the best cool tone palettes in my collection. Like I said, some are some new favorites, some are some old favorites. And like one of them, I was like, oh, if it had came out now, it would really be its time to shine. So in no particular order, we're gonna go through, like some of them are brand new, okay? And yes, I have filmed this look. So if you're wondering, I will show it in just a moment because it's definitely, it's in the cool tone family. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have about 10 with 2 bonus, because you know, sometimes you just can't narrow it down to 10, okay? So in no particular order, just grabbing from my pile right here. So first up is going to be the Natasha Denona Xenon palette. So at first when I saw this, I was not sold. I talked major crap about it. I was like, why would she just do this palette? It makes no sense. Sometimes it still makes no sense, but I do like it, okay? So I actually bought this a little bit later on after the launch. I actually bought it this year around Valentine's Day. I was like, well, it'll be a little Valentine's Day gift to myself, and I love it. I think it is such a beautiful palette. Now, it definitely can look a little scary because it's definitely just like grays, whites, silvers, some navies, this weird shifty shade that's pink or purple or lavender or maybe blue, and nobody really knows. But overall, I do feel like that this is a great palette to have in your collection. I do understand that it could be a very daunting, and you're like, how do I work with these silver? How do I work with these white shades? Like, this is just not for me. And I do understand that this is kind of, you need a little finesse, but I feel like this pairs really well if you want to put it like with the blacks and the grays. You could pop a warm tone shadow on there and kind of make it work for you. Of course, the formula is top tier because it's Natasha Denona. So you know the formula is going to be nice. And of course, we have those creamy mattes. We have the cream to powder, and everything just blends out very nicely. Now, I was, you know, surprised. I was like, I actually like this shade. Like, it just kind of gives a nice ethereal look, kind of like just sparkly, snowy. It is a good palette to kind of pull out during the holiday season, the spooky season. You can just really get some great looks with it. So this is the Natasha Denona Xenon, but I could definitely understand why a lot of people wouldn't want something this gray and black in their collection, and maybe just the mini Xenon would be a better choice. Now this palette right here, this is the palette that I said, if this palette came out now, it would really have its moment, okay? Because when it came out, I loved it. Other people might have loved it, but it came out with some other warm tone palettes, and It also came out, I want to say in 2020 or 2021, and we were still very much in the warm tone phase. So this is the Colourpop Baro. And I almost forgot about this palette until I was looking in my drawers. So I'm going to have to pull her out and play with her. So it came with like a couple other palettes that I had one. It was a warm tone, but I definitely decolored it. And I think I do have a video on this. I'm pretty sure I have a video on this. It's 3 looks, but I love it because first of all, you have the mauves, you have the gray. If y'all don't know, gray eyeshadow is like my friend. Like we don't see each other very often, but when we link up, it's like we never skip the beat, okay? But now it's like we see each other often because the cool tones are here. So now we're getting the gray mattes and you know, we're linking up more often, okay? So, but this palette is just a good range. You have some really nice shimmers in here. You kind of have some iridescent shimmers. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit darker in tone, but I feel like you can get some really nice cohesive looks. Like I say, you kind of have like your mauves, you have your grays, and you also have like that little hint of blue. And for the price point, you can't beat it. Unfortunately, I don't think this is around, but I feel like she deserved the moment and we need to talk about Baroque. Now this one is such a good favorite. Now, of course, this was like a holiday palette, but I feel like this palette, you can use this any time of the year because it's definitely moments in this palette that give springtime. It's definitely moments in the palette that gives winter. So this is the Christmas Eve palette by Odins Eye Cosmetics, and this palette is really great. So one thing I've been hearing a lot lately, and I have to agree, is that sometimes the quality with Odins Eye has been a little hit or miss. I'm not sure what's going on. We know sometimes it's the shimmer, sometimes it's the mattes, sometimes it just seems like the whole thing is off, but here we go, okay? So this is the Christmas Eve palette, and like I said, I just feel like you can use this palette any time of the year. You have a beautiful multi-chrome. So this multi-chrome down here, are we swatching things? Okay, we're swatching it. All right, so this is Gorgeous, and Gorgeous is a gorgeous shade. So literally this particular shade right here can kind of just warm up the palette for you. See, I put it on my skin complexion and it just turned into like this really nice goldeny pink duochrome shade. So pair it with your blues, you have the yellows, you do have a warmer gold right here. You have a more icier gold that's yellow. Of course, you have your silvers, you have your mauves, you have this beautiful mustard that can also read a little bit warm. So it's cool tone, but you still can like kind of pair it up to get you a little warm tone moment with the cool tone. So the blendability of the palette is really nice. The mattes are really nice and the shimmers are really nice. The only shimmer that I'm like about is really like Snowflake. Some of the shimmers are like that stickier formula and some of them are like that really smooth texture. But overall, I feel like you could just get so much wear out of this palette. I really like navy blue mattes also. Navy blue mattes are kind of like my friend, how I explained the gray mattes. But like I said, because of the cool tones, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of navy blue mattes. And that really makes me happy because I don't always feel like it should just be a dark brown to carry the look or anchor the look down. So I feel like this is a really great palette and it has been still like available. I know they brought these back out. I felt like it was a really good choice because these were a hit. Like the second renditions was like, but this and the Christmas morning were really good. Now this is my baby, okay? So this one is like taking me by storm. It is like, it is so good. It is a little expensive, but I feel like it's really worth the money. And this is the Enle Rain Cold Moon palette. And this is like cool tones on steroids. Now, when you look at this palette, you might not think like all these little ashy tones are gonna work for you, but they do. I don't know how they pull this little magic off where some of these shades, you would just think like, no, that's not gonna look good. But I really love like the matte choices because you kind of got like a little slate gray, olivey tone right here. You definitely have your standard slate gray. You got your kind of like concretes, and then you got your darker grays. Then you also have the browns, and this brown and these two shades go really deep so you can kind of anchor your look as well as this brown. You have your mauve moments. You have like a little peachy number, and if you're lighter complexion, this will work well also to kind of transition and bridge in the gap. I also feel like this would be a nice inner corner shade or on the lid shade for my particular collection. And then what makes the palette so special are the shimmers. So although this palette is inherently cool tone, You can get a little warmth out of the palette, and the shimmers are just magical. It doesn't matter like what you put on your eye, the shimmers are going to shine. They're going to transform the looks. They can be so smooth, so opulent. Yes, the formula is a little bit less stickier on some of the shades, but if you just like use a glitter glue, pat it down right, you're going to win every time. You have beautiful shades like this. So you're getting cool tones, you're getting a bit of warmth, but you're getting different shades. Like you have like the berry tones, you have your purples, you got your blues, you have your silvers, and you kind of have like the mixture. Then you have this special shade called like Snowdrop, and it's kind of like a white whimsical gold flash. It's really gorgeous. So I feel like you get a bunch of different options for this palette. It is, like I said, it's a little bit more expensive. Ensley is more expensive. It is what it is. But their formula is so good. Their shimmers are so good. And this palette just like really made me a believer out the brain. Like once this palette came out, I was like, I'm kind of hooked. Like the Harvest Moon had me, but Cold Moon really has me. And I feel like it's just one of the most unique palettes in my collection. Now, this is a new favorite, and I do have a video on this, and I'm not sure like what order this is coming up because I've been filming a lot and I've kind of been like getting back on track from being sick. So I had like a whole backlog of palettes that I definitely wanted to show on my channel. But this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. This palette is actually still in stock. This is from Cosmic Brushes. This is the Cool Trolls palette, excuse me. So once again, you have some of the same elements, okay? You got your mauves, you got your navy blues, you got your grays, your browns, but I feel like this is a very affordable option. So if you are not able to pick up maybe one of the options I'm about to present to you, or if you're not able to get Cold Moon, now I don't feel like Cold Moon and this is together, but if you want a great, affordable, good formula, it's going to perform well, cool tone palette, I would highly recommend this palette. I feel like everything works so well. The only shade that I have not tried out is this pink. It kind of scares me because sometimes pinks, or those, not even pinks, but those particular type of pastels, they tend to be a little whitewashed on me. Or especially if the formula just has a lot of white in the base of it and it's not like just a lighter version of that shade, but it's like it uses a lot of white to create that shade. Then when you blend it out, you get that white cast, and I can't stand that. But you have really beautiful shades. You do have a multi-chrome, and this palette only retails for about $30 something. So you get all these beautiful shades. You got your black, you got your pop of blue. You can get light looks, you can get neutral looks. So even though like you might not be into all the blues, you can get very neutral looks right in here, especially right in here. The little blue can kind of be your pop. Also, like I think that people don't kind of tend to have navy as a neutral, but like if you're going to work, a lot of people don't work in the office anymore, but if you're going to work, if you're talking about a standard like dress attire, you know, it's usually like brown, gray, black, navy. So I feel like this is a good way to just kind of, you know, start putting it in the outer corner and blending it in with your browns and see how you like that. But overall, I feel like this is just such a great palette. I was really surprised about the quality. I had tried Cosmic Brushes once before. I tried their Winter Wonderland palette, which is inherently very cool tone, but that one, it was just a little bit too many pastel shades in there for me. So, but this one I highly recommend. Now this one, it has come in and I'm like, yes, this is probably like one of my favorite palettes of the year. And it's the Gargoyle palette. Now, it's kind of like, should you get this or should you get this? You know what I mean? So I feel like these kind of do look alike, but if I was to choose one or the other, if I was to choose Cool Trolls versus the Gargoyle, I would go with the Gargoyle for sure. Because you do have that pop of green. You can get a few bit lighter shades. You have fabulous multi-chromes, but if you can kind of see, you got some more golden shades. This particular shade, you can throw it all over the lid and get a really nice ethereal, bright look paired around with your neutral mattes. So I feel like you can go very neutral in this palette. You can go very colorful in this palette. So you can like take it there. You can go all the way out or you can keep it subdued. But the color story is really fabulous. She did such a great job with the mattes. I didn't have anything that felt like it was a dud. I didn't try that one. I mean, like, give me a break, you know? Like, I'm really not going to go in the shade like that. But I feel like everything else works really well. I feel like this will work well for you. Also, if you are deep complected, I would definitely probably check out Deanna Nicole's Instagram, like she does swatches for like a lot of different indie brands if you're wondering about how it's going to look on your complexion. And I get it, swatches are one thing versus like how it's actually going to read on your skin tone when you apply the shadows. But I feel like you have so many different options here, and that's why I love this palette so much. But like I said, I mean, this is kind of like, okay, you can get some similar looks, you know what I mean? So, but like I said, I would choose this one over the Cool Trolls. But if you could only get one and you were looking about affordability, I would highly recommend the Cool Trolls, and I think you would be really happy with it. But this whole little pocket for me, oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. Now, I love this palette down, honey. So, first of all, y'all know I love me some Adept Cosmetics, and I do have a code with Adept Cosmetics now. It is Dr. Ash, in case you guys did not know, but I love this palette down. And honey, Amy did her thing with this one. She did her big one with this because it is such a gorgeous palette. So it is cool, but it has a lot of elements of the cool tone palettes that we've been seeing lately, but it also has like a different take on it. Like you're getting glam with this particular palette, and you're getting like, you have the pop of blue, you have the special holochromes in the pop of blue, you have this beautiful shade lavender. Lavender just steals the show every time, honey. Like, so this is lavender, and then I'm going to put it right here. It's probably going to almost kind of look like Gorgeous. It is very similar to Gorgeous. So here we have both of these shades right here next to each other. So this is lavender, and this is Gorgeous from the Odins Eye collection. So you can see the Gorgeous has more pink in the lavender. So it's really pretty. But I really also love this palette because like she gave us some phenomenal matte choices. So if you know Adept Cosmetics, like she doesn't really do a whole lot of mattes because everybody is most interested in the shimmer formula. And we know that the shimmer formula is really excellent. But Amy said, I don't want any light mattes. I want mattes that are going to work for every skin complexion. And I really appreciate that. And I really think it does. So like you can build them up or you can blend them down so they're not as bold, or just go in with a lighter hand. You have really great shades. Like you can kind of get some icy looks. You can get some more warmer looks. You can kind of just get your subtle looks, and you can just get your pop looks. And I feel like it's just a really great play on the cool tones phenomenon that's going on right now. And I think like she just did an excellent job. Another palette that I just love down, and this color story is definitely a lot different, and this is the Blend Bunny Longing palette, honey. Maggie did her big thing with this one too. Maggie is the owner of Blend Bunny Cosmetics. I do have a code with Blend Bunny Cosmetics. If you're not aware, it's Dr. Ash. All my codes are Dr. Ash, okay? I only got like 3, but but that is not the point. And unfortunately, I had stuck my little fingers in here. So once again, according to Blend Bunny Fashion, we have like these nice little rolls. We have these little color stories where you can just go across the row. You can pick out your monochromatic look, or you can be like me and jump all around the palette. These are the best shimmers that she has ever done. Now, I know that the shimmers and She Never Misses, I heard, are really good. I have that palette over there. I have not had a chance to use it yet, and I do plan on it, but first of all, y'all know I love me a little Barney moment, okay? A little mint and some greens. I'm here for it. So you kind of have like, you have a more turquoisey row, you have your gray row, you got your purple row, and you kind of have like your neutral rows. So I just feel like this is one of the most beautiful color stories that she has had in her arsenal. I love the formula of Blend Bunny, and you're just going to get so many nice matte choices. And if you're looking for like a palette that has a lot of mattes that can kind of take you everywhere, it doesn't have the blues and it doesn't have the mauves, but it is still very neutral, so with a twist. So that's why I feel like this palette just kind of looks a little different than everything that's kind of on the market now, but it's really gorgeous. You can still get the warmth with this palette because you have this and you have this right here, but inherently it is pretty much cool, but you have that pop of warmth. And I feel like all the cool tone palettes, you kind of need that pop of warmth sometimes to just kind of tie everything together so it doesn't look so flat. But this color story, yes, like for real. All right, coming up next, we got the OG, okay? We got a good old OG, and she is definitely an old favorite. And this palette is Mothership 1. So this is Sublime, okay? And it is a cool tone dream, okay? A lot of people didn't appreciate it, including myself, okay? Like, I don't know why. like I fell out of love with cool tones. I think it was just the whole warm tone vibe, and I wasn't really digging the cool tone. So when this came out, I didn't really gravitate to it. I definitely gravitated towards this blue, but I didn't really gravitate to the rest of the palette. This was like one of the last motherships of the first 3 that I bought. And even like the platinum bronze, I did not pick up right away. And now I'm like, I love it. And I didn't put that in this video, but I just kind of limited it down to like what I felt was like the best of the best. But such a gorgeous palette. First of all, it's really neutral if you just go from here on, okay? And these are the type of looks that like glam. Think glam. That's the one thing about cool tones too. Like they just read so glam, especially editorial wise. If you're going to have like professional photos taken, sometimes if you just want to be in a really professional setting, I feel like they look really good also. But so nice. Can contour your eyes, just bring those shapes and dimensions to your eyes really nicely. That's what this palette does. You also have this beautiful kind of lavender shade. You got your pop of blue. You have a little warmth with this gold. So this gold particularly, like, you know, Mama Pat loves a yellow gold. So I feel like even though this gold, this yellow gold is a little bit more, it's definitely cooler than her other standard golds. Oh, gold standard. Like, you know, that's that gold. But you still get the pop of warmth. And then of course you have these celestial shades in here, and you got your big wow factor with the blue. So it's just like, you can't go wrong with this palette. It is such a sleeper, I feel like. But I feel like the beauty community is like caught on. Like, yes, Mothership 1, she's literally that girl. Now, a little bit newer to Mama Pat's arsenal, this is Mothership 10. And I was like, you know what? I am here for you. I did not think I was going to like this so much. This is Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction, but it's so pretty, okay? Because you have like your grayish brown matte. You have these two. Now, I do feel like these 2 shades are like a little close for comfort. I'm like, we didn't need that. We could have went a little different in this direction, but you have some really beautiful shades. Of course, you kind of have like this blue-brown situation. You have your golds, you have your silvers, and you got your champagne. So overall, I feel like you can get some really neutral looks, but some wow moments at the same time. So that's why I definitely had to go ahead and include the Moonlit Seduction. Now, 2 more, I guess these will kind of be like your bonus palettes, but I really love these palettes, and these palettes, like, they're brand spanking new. This one I got on my eyes today. I just filmed these 3 looks for you guys, and this is the Cheer Youp brand, and it's a C Beauty brand, and I bought it from the Look Healthy store. And this is the Floating Life palette, and it's the collaboration with Freya 86 like _FF. Okay, so purchase this from Look Healthy store. This is out of China, so part of the C Beauty, and you know the C Beauty has really been big. But look at this baby, okay? Do you see this on my eyes? So this particular shadow, it kind of gives me like some Cold Moon vibes from Ensley. Now this right here is not in the look. I just took my highlighter and put it right there in the inner corner because I didn't want a silver. But we have the red, we have your mauves. And if you're wondering, these mattes work. I had no problem building them up on my complexion, no problem blending them out. So I definitely feel like if you are deeper than me, that this is a palette that was definitely going to work for your skin complexion. But the shadow quality is really amazing, and it's an affordable price point. I think it's about $42.99 if you feel like that's affordable. I feel like affordable is relative, okay? Affordable is relative, but in how we've been talking about the palettes lately, I've had stuff from like Colourpop to Pat McGrath, and we already know it's 120, but even some of these mid-range brands of mid-range indie are like 60 and 70, $80, and then by the time you pay for shipping. So the shipping was free. I don't believe it was like something where you had to spend a side of money, but I did buy one other palette with this. But back to this little baby right here. So you got your mauves, you have your slates. It's a well thought out color story. And even if you see these, you're like, well, in this, you're like, is it too close? No, like you get a color differentiation. You're going to see the difference of colors. They're not going to blend in to just be like mud. And you'd be like, well, what was the point of me putting on all 3 shades if I'm just going to get one big old shade? And the same thing here, you know. You're going to get the different colors. The black is really fabulous. I did like just pop it in right in there just to get that extra depth and dimension. And you have your red, you have a mixture of like, you got multi-chromes, you got the standard shimmer shades, you have a holochrome right here, but it's one of those kind of finely milled holochromes where it's not just like big sparkles right there. So I tend to like those more, but overall, I feel like this is just truly a really gorgeous palette. Now, this is the other collab palette. This is with Shel We, and this is by the same creator, okay? So these two definitely have like the same vibe, and she even admitted this to herself, but you're not getting the same looks. Same vibe, but you're just not, okay? So unlike where I could say like Gargoyle and Cool Trolls, like you're going to get pretty much the same looks. It's the same vibe, kind of same looks, except for Gargoyle has that green, and I feel like Gargoyle is just better quality. Like these two, like I would definitely see a purpose of having both in my collection. So this is the Shel We Somber Garden palette. I want to say you can get Shel We also from the Look Healthy store, or you can order directly from their website. Really great. I mean, I was just not disappointed. And this is affordable too. So this is the mini size. Mini size $26.99. If you want a full size, it's $52. I went with the mini because, look, what am I panning? What eyeshadow am I panning? I'll wait. Because I have yet to pan an eyeshadow. I don't think ever in my life I've panned eyeshadow. Even when I didn't have a lot of eyeshadow, I don't think I panned a lot of eyeshadow. And that's because even when I moved out of the little singles, I had a bunch of singles from MAC, but I would fool with those pigments heavy. And I had the big pot pigments like that never left. Like we had a pigment, my friend, my college roommate in the dorm, she spilled it. It went across the dresser. She was, I'm so sorry, Ashley. I said, girl, fine. We salvaged whatever we could salvage. I still have plenty left. I still got that pigment to this day. And that was circa, I bought it back in 2001. I still, but I'm saying, I've never panned eyeshadow, okay? I've panned some foundations. I panned a blush and a bronzer, but I ain't never panned no eyeshadow, okay? The day I do, oh Lord, I'll be so excited. But this is a fabulous palette. So unlike this particular palette, like I feel like this is more inherently cooler. You do get a little bit more grungier moments with this particular palette versus this. I feel like you can get gothic, and that's what she's kind of advertising it for. And now, especially that is like spooky season, like the gothic vibes. I feel like you get a lot of glam vibes out of this one. And because it's more silvers and mauves, you know, versus and grays. Where this one, you got your mauves, you got your grays, you got a pop of green, and you got the blue. So it's like, it's gorgeous. And it's kind of like, to the question, is like, between the three. Yeah. Okay. So like between the three, right? I would do this. If you could only, this is where it gets tricky at the end. But if you only get one, I would say this over this. I would say this over this. That's the culturals, okay? Now when it comes to this and this, I'm like, yeah, I can't choose, okay? But this is so beautiful. The mattes, no problem. Even like, I don't think I might have tried use this matte to kind of buff out the edges, but even these two, no problem. This was a beautiful in the inner corner. I have 3 looks. Not sure what order this will be up in, but I got 3 looks for y'all on this, okay? Because this is gorgeous. Like, you need to get your hands on this little Shel We palette. And this brand really reminds me of Tammy Tenuka Siegel inspired, okay? I feel like she just kind of picked up because, you know, we can't purchase her anymore. Now, but the mattes are really nice. You don't have any problem blending them out. They build up, they perform, they're really pigmented. So if you are deeper than me, I don't think you should have a problem with this palette. Now, the shimmers are evenly as gorgeous. They're very smooth, they're very opulent, they're very shiny. You have multi-chromes, you have some dual chromes. This shade, I would say, was one of the stickier shades, but it's not like sticky in a bad way. It's just one of those forms you just kind of have to, like, you know, rub it together a little bit and then, or just pat it down really nicely on your eyelids. Definitely NYX Glitter Glue, you know, I definitely recommend. But overall, it's just a really gorgeous palette. And I just feel like you get a lot of different vibes because, like I said, you can kind of stay in the green family, you can kind of stay in the blue family, you can stay in the mauve family, and then, you know, just bounce around. And you have a couple different options to like deepen up your look. So I really appreciate that. So that is what I have. But you know what? It's one more palette I want to bring. It's one more. Hold on. Okay, I lied. It's actually two more because when I looked in my drawer to get the palette I was going to bring out for you guys, I said, now how did this miss? Because I wrote it down on my little list when I was thinking about this video idea, but she didn't get pulled out the drawer. But okay, so this is the bad boy. I'm like, how could we not? Like, when I was thinking about the Pat McGrath lineup, like, how could we not? If you were fortunate to get your hands on this baby right here. So this is Mothership Subliminal. This is one of the holiday 6 pans. So she came out with 6 pans. And this is the Dark Star, honey. Look, mama, where are you at, honey? Because let me tell you something. We just gonna have a moment. We got the blue, we got my gray matte, we got the black, then we have the mauve, like the aubergine moment, and we got our golds. Like, y'all already know I'm making that face because I'm just like, Mama Pat, what is happening? But it's a really beautiful palette. And if you are fortunate to have this, I want to say this released in 2018, holiday 2018, and it released with 2 other palettes, the Metamorphosis and Bronze Temptation. I think, you know, everything was like bronze. It's the one that has like that duochrome in there and the burgundy, yes. But this is so gorgeous. And the formula, of course, the formula is good. So I definitely had to bring this out and mention it because I was like, girl, like, you know, you got to mention some Dark Star because she was just like, she was one of a kind, okay? Now, I don't know how I forgot this because this is fabulous, and you need to get your hands on this because I think they have restocked this. It's pretty affordable. It's like in the 30-something download range. This is one of the best palettes that Nomad Cosmetics has had. And look, y'all see it, Ghost Town, USA. Honey, she is good. She is nice and neutral. If you like the neutral, she got the colors. She got the mauves. She got the greens. Like, how could you not? You know you love you some Ghost Town, USA. So, like I said, it's just broken up so well. This is one of their best done palettes. I like, a lot of people have to say this, and I think, you know, it sold out pretty quickly. They have brought it back. Definitely the season to kind of get it in. They have the, like I say, you have your neutrals, you have your browns, you have your teals, and all of these shades, like you get the depth and the dimension when it comes to the colors. They're not bleeding into each other. And then you also have the greens. It's still like another like more cool tone browny green. The shimmer formula is really nice. You have a little bit more warmth when it comes to these chartreuses. You have like this kind of rose goldy shade, and then you have like your champagnes, you have your mauves and the blues and your taupes and like the purples. It's just a beautiful combination, and they were right on the money because they got in right when that cool tone trend was starting, because this came out like Halloween last year. So yes, okay, so I think we ended up with 14 palettes, but I opened the drawer like, how did, yeah, I thought I checked my list, but yes. So I definitely have more cool tone palettes in my arsenal, but I feel like these are the best of the best. And let me know if you have any of these in your collection, but I feel like some of the new ones that I just mentioned are definitely like worth taking a look at, like the Shel We one and this one, the Queen Q one, I want to say is, I don't want to butcher the name, but this other one, this is the Floating Life palette by Freya as well. The Amy Loves Makeup, the Cold Moon, the Gargoyle. Like some of those are newer palettes, definitely. Like if you could get your hands on it. And like I said, I can understand if you don't want all the color stories because some of the color stories are overlapping, but I feel like I said, it's just like a little makeup moment, and it just kind of brings me back to like why I started like loving makeup. And I'm just like, yeah, and I didn't think about it like that. I don't know, you know, I think we got such in that warm tone mode. We were like, we don't want no cool tones. Like they don't look good on us. Like, No, no, they do. Like, they do. You know, they're definitely more elevated than they were in the 90s. Come a long way, okay? So, with that being said, let me know if you have any of these palettes down below. Let me know if you're interested. Majority of these palettes I have a video on, okay? Mothership one, definitely older, have a video on. Amy's palette, I definitely have a video on. The Dark Star, I have a video on. The Coat, everything here. I think even the Baroque, I have a video on. So, yeah, you should be able to find these if you search in my channel, but I'm gonna try to list most of them down below. So, because they're not like in a little playlist, except for I do have a Mothership, I do have a Pat McGrath playlist, and I do have a Adept Cosmetics playlist, and I have a Blend Bunny playlist. But I'm gonna work on like just linking all these videos down below if you want to just check them out for your viewing pleasure. I would definitely appreciate that. So, with all of that being said, let me know what you think about these palettes. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video, and subscribe to my channel because you know I would love to have you here on my little makeup family. And with all of that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Chair dance. Hey, 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 chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. All right, y'all. Bye.